All right.
Okay.
Cool. Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 134 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the #1 live podcast in Canada. We're recording on Monday, May 14th, 2018. Oh, Tim's not here.
Marty,
That doesn't
Hunter
help
and
us.
Sport. Yeah. Way to update the show notes. All right. I'm Marty, hunter and sport shooter in rural southern Ontario.
I'm Gavin, business owner, gun enthusiast, hunter, atheist, CCFR field officer, and still not a criminal because I went through 2 background checks today.
I'm Benny. I'm an Orthodox Jew, shooter, and a Sunday hunter.
As always, my name is Andrew. I'm a recovering libertarian, a competitive shooter, firearms instructor at Ragnarok Tactical. I have a follow-up question. Is it that you hunt on Sundays or that you're hunting for Sundays? Because the second option sounds delicious.
Either or. It hasn't hit hunting season yet, as far as I know. So, but I'm hoping this year will be the year.
Turkey's on. Get out there and bag you a turkey, man.
Okay.
You can make all that delicious turkey bacon that you're allowed to eat.
Not if I shoot it.
Just hug it to death, then.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my form of slaughter has been banned in some European countries, so I don't know. And didn't that guy get in trouble for hunting with a spear in BC, or was it Alberta?
Yeah, it's totally. He only got crucified in the media. It's still totally legal, so you can do that.
No.
Okay.
No, they passed new laws. I think we talked about it on the show, I think, at one point.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to do that. But
man,
if no one catches you spearing a turkey, I mean, who will know? I won't tell the government.
Yeah, like if a turkey gets speared in the forest and no one's around to see it, did it happen? It's like one of those rhetorical questions.
I don't think it is. Because nowadays it's like, if no turkey was speared in the forest and no one was there to see it, do they now ban spearing turkeys?
Well, obviously, you gotta ban all the things. Yeah.
Read the feedback thing. I got no segue. Moving along.
All right. We'd love to hear feedback about the show and about how you do or don't spear turkeys in the woods. So please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. The show is available on Stitcher and iTunes.
You can check the podcast out on Facebook and Instagram at varioussocialmedia.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast.
So you're just going to edit in your own intro later?
I did my intro.
You did it.
Did you?
Yeah.
And then I got distracted about Sundays because I was thinking about ice cream and how I kind of want some.
I guess I got distracted by the spearing of turkeys that Benny does on Sundays.
Allegedly.
All right. So we need your help. To support the show, visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You get the uncensored audio version of the show for just $1 per episode. Yes, that's the same version that you get for free, but you can also get it for $1 per episode. The more you pledge, the better the rewards are. Show you're not a communist, buy a CPP t-shirt for just $19.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit the CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link to the right.
The Patreon version is still different than the free version on the iTunes. So the dollar does get you something. It's not much, and it's probably not worth $1, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
Yeah.
Helps me pay for the hosting.
And some people get free t-shirts and other people get drawings. We haven't had anyone give us enough money to become part of the post-show banter, where you hear how we really feel about things.
No one wants that.
Rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah. Marty actually turns his camera on and you can see what he looks like.
Well, that's not true because it doesn't work when we try.
Shh! Don't ruin the mystery.
The pigeons can only fly so fast and carry so much.
Yeah.
You gotta upgrade from flash drives to SD cards. They're a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
Maybe those micro SD cards will get me there.
Yeah, that's where it's at now.
Let's do What Are We Drinking? Every week, What Are We Drinking is brought to us by Arrowhead Coffee. Arrowhead Coffee is owned and operated by Canadian Armed Forces veterans. They love our country, the true north, strong and free, their family and friends. Join Arrowhead Coffee on their hunt for the perfect brew to raise morale and bring that feeling of home to you, no matter where you are. A portion of all profits helps Canadian Armed Forces members, veterans, and their families. Now I ask, what are you drinking? Gavin, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Crown Royal Apple and Coke Zero, which I forgot just how delicious this stuff is. So I may get a little intoxicated this evening.
Good stuff. Marty, what are you drinking?
Spice Box and Coke Zero.
Benny, I'm afraid to ask. Benny, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking water.
Oh. No more weird chicken soup stuff?
No, it spilt and I lost all the powder, so well. Gotta buy more.
Fair enough.
Just go raid the factory for cheese. I'm sure that'll...
Yeah. It's quality control, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm drinking Crown Royal Maple because that's my life now. Let's get into the news. We have a bunch of gun news at the top of the deck. Start with C71, followed by C71, followed by other stuff to do with C71. So the first one, we've got a link to the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights. They've got expert feedback from Doctors Kyle Langman and Gary Mauser. Both Langman, I think, is out of the States, but he's an expert in firearms, not law, but it's like the
policy.
The implications of what the law does. He's got like multi-year studies about how crime is related to the gun laws that a country passes. And Gary Mauser is a Canadian criminologist. Well, I think you have to be a doctor and then get money from someone to continue being a doctor. I'm not really sure how it works.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Something tenure. So they've got their input. I don't know. Did you guys want to talk about any of these things? Because C71 is kind of a joke, and these guys agree.
Yeah, I picked up a few of these over the weekend. For those of you that get the audio one, it's one of those C71 stickers with a big cross through it, because fuck C71. That's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, I'm not happy with this. Langman and Mauser both effectively say that C71 is not going to do anything, which we kind of knew and have already talked about.
Well, it's going to do something. It's just not going to do what they're telling everyone it's going to do. It's going to make all of our lives more difficult and a pain in the ass.
That's true.
Yeah, so let's quickly summarize like Langman's thing. So basically, background checks beyond 5 years will not result in decreased homicide or suicide by firearm. Vendor sales records and license verification should not be implemented as proposed. Same thing, won't reduce any homicide by firearms. The ATT should be repealed as a costly and redundant control of firearms and replaced with an excuse allowing transport of all firearms to a location where such is safe and permitted to store, repair, sell, or discharge. The classification of firearms results in no public safety benefit and should be discontinued. And strategies that target youth offenders and gangs more likely to result in beneficial effects.
In short, C71 has no impact on public safety, and they're barking up the wrong tree.
This is interesting. Like the comment on ATT. So, you don't need an ATT when you already have, legal parameters about where you are permitted to transfer your gun to. So there's no point in having it duplicated with this piece of paper. It does nothing. Classifications do nothing. C71 does nothing.
It's almost like gun laws don't stop criminals.
No, I'm pretty sure if you gave a law-abiding person a full auto machine gun and took away that piece of paper, they would become violent offenders like immediately.
Wait, where are we getting machine guns?
Well, I'm just saying, like, like that's
Straw man argument.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I want to be the straw man with a machine gun.
who doesn't? I mean, if you're going to be anything, it's better with a machine gun.
Yeah, so
So
CCFR.
Gary Mauser, his main comments were just that Bill C-71 focuses on POW holders, not violent criminals. It goes against the liberal promise of evidence-based policy. And I liked the way he kind of ended his. But there are a couple things we can all agree on. One, we all want a safer Canada. Two, we all want some credible work done to combat crime. And three, C-71 won't be effective on either one or two.
I think that was. I don't know if that was him who said that. I think that might have been the other.
Can we just take it?
I feel like it was.
Take a second, just to take note of the fact that there's a guy named Mauser that's pro-gun.
Yeah, that's pretty good, right?
Because that would really suck if he was anti-gun.
Yeah.
Let's do another one. We've got an article on the gunblog.ca. RCMP is so eager to ban guns, it's already enforcing Bill C-71. So this is funny. There was changes to the firearms website on the RCMP's website. So under the Canadian Firearms Program portion of the RCMP, they've got the registration information for the the June 30th deadline for your newly restricted CZ858 and Swiss Arms rifles.
What does that mean, newly restricted?
Well, it's funny because that bill's not law yet, so I'm not really sure how the RCMP managed to find the time to update their website to say that you need to register your newly restricted firearm.
Okay, this may be just me getting the terminology mixed up again. Like I know I did that last week, but if it's restricted, it'd be restricted because of the barrel length, in which case it's been restricted before C-71 and it's already registered.
Yeah.
You have a good point. You're
I
newly prohibited.
Yeah, if they said prohibited, like I was freaking out, and then someone posted this on CCFR on their Facebook page, and someone's like, it's talking about restricted. And now that you say that again, Andrew, I realize it does say restricted. And in which case, either you're breaking the law, as it says in the article as well, either you're breaking the law already because you have a restricted firearm that isn't registered, or you're not breaking a current law, and so C-71 doesn't even come into the picture.
Yeah,
I want to know where the
curious.
RCMP found time to do this when they don't have time to answer the phone when I had to call them the other day.
Well, they also found time like a few weeks ago to just go ahead and prohibit a bunch of Swiss Arms rifles that were not covered under C-71, but still fall under it. They were just like, nah, these are prohib now.
Look at me. I'm the prohibited rifle.
Yeah.
One thing that I hadn't seen before this article was that businesses aren't eligible for the delayed confiscation. So
Yeah, that's
any
super
current inventory that is like any current inventory with retailers becomes prohibited immediately, and they can't sell it at that point.
So if you own a gun store or work at a gun store or know somebody that owns a gun store and you want to get rid of some Swiss Arms rifles before they become prohibited and you have to turn them in for destruction, I'm not saying that you're going to make money, but I got a credit card that you could run and we could do dealer cost or something.
Yeah, I would be happy to take one of those off of someone's hands, allegedly, to go with my 858.
Now, if it can they sell them to someone with a 12.6 or whatever?
Well, right now they can sell them to anyone because they're not.
No, I'm just saying when they immediately become when this goes in and then they become prohibited, and the bulletin says that they become prohibited inventory.
Here comes I was going to say, here comes the interesting question: if they're a say 12, whatever the other numbers are, dealer already, because there are some businesses out there that do deal in prohibited firearms in Canada, would this not be included because this is a new form of the 12-, what is it, 12.6 now?
It's
no, Bill
unlikely to
7
be.
C71 creates new classes. So
Right,
it's
so-
like 12.9 or something.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So now that these firearms are 12.9, does that then this wouldn't, as far as my understanding, this wouldn't be included in that business license, and yeah, they would be subject to confiscation.
That's correct. That is how I understand the bulletin for the businesses. So if you're a business and you want to dispose of your inventory before the deadline, feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com.
Yeah, so the bulletin, just for listeners to clear, it doesn't really go through the details on this for businesses. It just says that the businesses do not qualify for the whole grandfathering / delayed confiscation.
No, because the Queen's Cowboys are making things up as they go, yet again, when it comes to firearms law.
Well, yeah, that and from my understanding, these aren't even going to be 12.9. So it's going to be 12, 13, and 14. So that if you own a CZ, you'll get like 12, 13, and the Swiss Arms will be the other. So you will be able to purchase all of the ones that you own, but you won't be able to purchase the other one. And then that
I can remember what the number was.
Yeah, I could have the numbers mixed up, but that's how they're going to do it. And then 12.9, from my understanding, is actually going to kind of be a catch-all that there is no real definition for it. Whereas all the other sort of 12 whatever categories have a, barrel length less than this or this and that or full auto or whatever you want. 12.9 is going to be basically anything that the RCMP decides is 12.9, which is problematic because they could have any gun that would otherwise, fall under a non-restricted category, but they just don't like the cut of its jib. They could go, yeah, this is 12.9 because we say it's 12.9. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Well,
And at any point in time, they can move things into that like they did with a bunch of handguns to sort of slowly weed them out, over a 50-year time period where they made things sort of that were legal now, restricted and then prohibited so that, through death and that market getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, they weed these things out. So, it'll be like ARs first and then semi-autos and everything else so that they can weed that stuff out of the population.
Let's pivot slightly to the article from the National Post. Goodall defends firearms bill against criticism. It does nothing to address gun crime mass shootings. There's a quote in the article that I want to bring up that's relevant to this. Asked about it Tuesday morning, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pointed out that the bill does give RCMP the final say on classifying specific guns as restricted or prohibited. The previous Conservative government had empowered Cabinet to overturn such decisions. This is a quote from the shiniest of ponies. We don't think politicians should be the ones determining what weapons are restricted, what weapons are prohibited. We trust the experts making decisions on the basis of facts and evidence.
Is this where we go into the bit about the RCMP again?
That RCMP?
I'm pretty sure, I said it before, I'll say it again, I'm pretty sure it's been proven in court that their so-called experts are not experts.
Code for now.
Yeah, if their expert's name is not Mauser, I don't want to hear from him.
Yeah, this is I agree with them that we should trust the experts to make decisions on the basis of facts and evidence. But that means that the Canadian Firearms Lab should be following the law and not relying on the RCMP to declare things to be scary and therefore prohibited. If it doesn't
be some sort of third-party organization that's not owned, operated, controlled, staffed, or whatever by anyone that has anything to do on either side of the debate.
I mean, yes, ideally that would be wonderful, but in reality, I don't see the Firearms Lab going away. And the Firearms Lab wouldn't cause me a problem if they actually applied the law the way that it was written. Because if you could measure the firearm and decide, oh, this does not have a full auto sear, therefore this is not a machine gun. Okay, that checks the box. Oh, according to my tape measure, this is at least 18 inches. Therefore, this is non-restricted. Like,
that's a tricky one though, with everyone using like a different definition of what like 18 inches is. Because like when you're
Well,
on the internet,
don't reference the internet. That's all.
So this does not surprise me at all. I mean, this is a prime minister who, immediately after becoming our prime minister, abdicated his responsibility, likely, what is probably the largest responsibility of a prime minister, and that is to
Dress himself.
to appoint a qualified cabinet, to choose the people that are the most qualified and the best people to run our country.
Are you
instead,
saying that
he
British
abdicated that responsibility.
Choice?
Yeah, instead he abdicated that responsibility and assigned those positions based on gender. This is not someone who's making decisions based on any sort of, intellect. This is, time and time again, he hands off responsibility to other people that are not qualified, that it is not their responsibility for, and does not take responsibility for his own, or accountability for his own actions. So I'm not surprised by this at all.
No, I agree with you, Marty. I'm not surprised by it. I just want to draw the attention to the comments that the Prime Minister made, that these things should already be being done by the experts. And the reason that the Conservative government gave this power back to Cabinet was because the RCMP was making up stupid rules and not enforcing the law the way that it was written.
that RCMP.
So
The Conservatives did not give the power back to Cabinet. The power was always with Cabinet. What happened was the RCMP overstepped what power they had, and the Conservatives corrected it, and
right, which is
amended the fact that,
to me, that's how this should work. If our national police force is not enforcing the laws the way they are written, a higher authority like our elected government should be going, "Hey guys, that's not right. Maybe you should follow the law."
yeah,
Right? Like,
we make the law, you enforce it. That's how this works.
Right.
We make the law because we are accountable to the voters.
that makes
And
sense.
they
to me.
enforce it because then they're accountable to the people that create the law.
Yeah.
That way there's a check and balance.
Yeah, this is dumb. I don't care for that. There is a pretty good quote from John Hipwell. John Hipwell is the owner of Wolverine Supplies in Verdun, Manitoba. So the Liberals are putting a deadline on complying with a law that hasn't been passed yet. That would make criminals out of people who haven't complied with a proposed law. Is that democratic? Is that even legal? I imagine that that John's comment is rhetorical, hypothetical even, but I feel like this is not legal.
Yeah, I don't know how you do comply to a law that hasn't even been.
Yeah, I don't know. I look forward to what Solomon Friedman has to say when he has to go to committee and... Oh, sorry, did it cut out for you or for me?
Both, I think. But yeah, I mean, if I was the head
Gavin
of
cut
the
out for everyone.
RCMP, like I have a plan in place for when this bill is passed, but that wouldn't be made public until it passes. Like be prepared.
Right.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Normally when laws come into force, it's a period of time after the law passes, and then the law comes into force. After 60 days, after 180 days, at the beginning of the following calendar year. It's very unusual to have one of these laws like C-71 where the government has written a timeline into the law with a set date.
Right.
But I had this conversation earlier, and I feel like C-71 is going to get pushed through, and it's going to happen, and they're going to hit their June deadline that they're looking for.
Yeah, I'm just curious
in
how.
one sense, it's nice to see our RCMP coming up with a plan to enforce some of the laws, but I'd like to see what their plan is and how they're going to enforce, stopping illegal guns from being smuggled into our country, or drugs being smuggled into our country, or stopping the gang violence that is also illegal in our country. If we're gonna spend the time working on plans, let's make them effective so that it benefits the country.
That actually involves work, though.
Or at least show me how these new implications would stop, say, crimes that have been committed in the past 5 years.
Or the past ever. None of these laws, nothing in C-71 will do anything to prevent any actual violent crimes.
Yeah, I'm curious though for all the people out there that own like 8.58s with a, an 18.6-inch barrel or a Swiss Arms with the long barrel. If they still own it and then this law passes, are they going to get their restricted to go along with that, or do they just have a non-restricted and then a prohib? I'm curious how that's going to work.
Yeah, they'll have a non-restricted with a 12 whatever 12, 18, 12, 19, whatever the numbers are.
But then they'd be able to buy a short-barreled version of that same gun, which would be normally a restricted rifle.
Yep.
That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, like it's ridiculous.
You have found the problem.
The short-barreled 8.58 is no longer a restricted rifle. It is a 12-18 rifle. It's its own category.
Yeah.
It used to be restricted, and now they can have it. Even though they've
that is the most. I mean, that just I think highlights just how absolutely ridiculous and retarded this is. This thing that I could own legally, I can still own legally, and this thing that I wouldn't be able to own, I can now own because they've changed it with the stroke of a pen.
Well, you're already dealing with arbitrary rules.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like our gun laws don't make sense.
Yep.
I have something else with gun laws that don't make sense. Brace yourself. It's the public safety minister.
It's an idea that has been proposed. When the details of the exact measures are available for study, I would look at this.
So this is further talking about the National Post article that we were speaking of earlier. Apparently, someone in committee decided it would be a good idea to ban assault weapons, and they're discussing that as part of the committee discussion on C-71. There's nothing in C-71 to ban assault weapons, and for everyone keeping score at home, assault weapons already banned in Canada. And by assault weapons, I mean machine guns.
Yeah, that depends on what definition.
Okay. Job done, guys.
Yeah. But the new definition has semi-auto in there, or anything that has like a pistol grip, or
anything that looks like an assault weapon. Yeah.
Basically, the was it Clinton ban, which was completely ineffective? That one?
Yes, that is effectively what we're talking about with assault weapons. Is anything that looks like a scary machine gun.
So if I put a spoiler on my pickup truck, I got a race car.
Well, yes, but for entirely different reasons.
Side note, I'm looking for a spoiler for my pickup truck.
Feedback.
Just whatever you
Patriot podcast.
Whatever you do, though, don't put a spoiler and like a giant bull bar in the front, because that turns it into an assault truck, and nobody needs that.
No, you just got to write rider on the side.
No, that's the real assault trucks. That's the military grade assault trucks.
Can I have a military grade assault truck?
Yes, you can.
How much does one of those Gurkhas cost? That Pterodyne Gurkha. I could go for one of those.
I don't know what that is. That the truck that was sitting in front of TACOM?
Yeah, that's the one. They're made in Oshawa, maybe.
I'm like, I had not seen that thing before, but whatever it was badass.
I think it's a Ford F450 frame that they've up armored. I think it's a 450 or a 550 frame.
Oh, I thought it was a custom chassis.
No, it's just like the powertrain and the frame, and they put their own armor plated body thing on it. It comes in 3 different styles. There's like a pickup truck looking one, like a troop carrier kind of one. I think it seats 6 or 8 people, something like that in the back. Mm-hmm. And then there's like a comms truck, utility truck kind of a thing. But I think they're also like $250,000.
It's a
I still
bargain.
feel
If you want one of
right.
the
I feel like I need one of these.
the fire pump backs to one of those, I sell engines to a guy that makes those, so I can hook you up.
I would
Patreon.com/CPP.
yeah. Andrew needs an assault truck.
Get the uncensored version of the podcast.
Get the T-shirt version, because after Tim makes your T-shirt, I mean, I need the $5 a month because I need an assault truck.
Or get the one where we talk about stuff after the show, and you can hear about all the fun stuff we want to do with the assault truck. Maybe we'll take you for a ride too.
It's my assault truck. No,
I'm pretty sure Ford's advertising their Ford. One of their trucks is with military grade aluminum.
I have that truck. I wouldn't trust.
I'm pretty certain it's aircraft grade aluminum.
Well, they're
the literature says military grade.
Does it really?
I was gonna say, military grade for what? Military has grades for everything. For all you know, it's for tin cans.
Yeah, military grade is not what you think it means.
Yeah. It means
my guns are much better than military grade.
Yes.
Yes. Because that's what you want to remember when you're in a sandy country getting shot at by people wearing manjamas is everything I'm wearing and everything I'm carrying was made by the lowest bidder. This is going to go well.
Yeah.
Now, you would think that all of this talk about aluminum was a great segue of ours into the aluminum smelting plant articles that I've been talking about this week, but no, we don't have that in our show notes. This is just entirely unrelated.
No.
Wait, there's aluminum smelting plants?
Yeah.
Didn't you hear about this?
Fuck aluminum.
Wait,
Come on, dude.
I thought this was actually in our show notes. I thought this
it is.
Isn't that why the government gave Apple and a bunch of mining companies like $60 million?
We just gotta jump back.
Where's that in the show notes?
It is.
Oh, it is here too. All right, segue. Good segue, guys.
Adam,
We'll fix it all in post, guys. Don't worry. This is why
we
pay the
won't.
$1 for the Patreon version of the show.
No, it's
Guys,
not.
You don't hear all that.
This is why we drink.
All right, let's do this one. It's I got the sources brianlilly.com because I'm sure this is completely unbiased. Justin Trudeau just handed tens of millions of your tax dollars to the richest company on earth. And Brian Lilly, in typical Brian Lilly fashion, is being slightly misleading. Justin Trudeau gave your money to a consortium of the richest companies on earth, including Apple.
Andrew, that doesn't make it sound any better.
I know, but it's a little bit more honest.
It sounds like he gave away more money.
So there's also Rio Tinto and Alcoa. Rio Tinto, I have stocks in. So if we could get that money to go up a little bit, that would be good for me. But these three companies have formed a conglomerate.
I wonder if Trudeau has any shares in those companies.
No, I don't see his name in the masthead here.
Yeah, he's not in the credits.
So I think the new company is called Elysis. I'm not really sure where to put the emphasis on which syllable.
I saw that movie. It was really good with Matt Damon.
Totally lost my train of thought because I was thinking about Matt Damon.
Right. So we didn't talk about the fact that this announcement came 3 days before they called the election. Yeah, the by-election. So this was in Chicoutimi, I believe.
Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
In Quebec. And yeah, so they're like, we're going to give $60 million to this company that's investing like another $200 million in smelting aluminum. I think what do they want to do? They want to do like net zero carbon offset smelting.
Can you stop making up words?
Their plan is it's a zero carbon emission smelting.
So
they use like electric hot plates?
I'm not sure if they've smelted stuff before, but this doesn't seem like it's an achievable goal.
I don't know what this is. Also, I don't understand Brian Lilly's math in this article specifically either.
Well, there's a lot of things Brian Lilly does I don't understand.
Couldn't they just plant more trees?
That's how you get around it, or you just buy carbon credits from somebody else.
I feel like planting a tree is cheaper.
I
Also, you don't have to worry about
trees
an
on.
unfortunate melting accident.
They gotta pay all those dirty hippies to go plant them, though. Like, I mean, they do it for almost nothing, but still.
I feel like if you buy a logging company, you can basically plant trees, cut them down, and like people pay you to do that. No one's counting how many trees they're logging, probably.
Burn wood. It's the only carbon neutral resource we have.
But it's terribly, terribly inefficient.
So
Stop with your science, Andrew.
Both of those are good points. Anyway, it makes me sad that the government is giving lots of money to really, really rich mining corporations and Apple to build something that, as far as my understanding of thermodynamics, is impossible.
So
I don't understand how you can smelt stuff and not have carbon offset. Like, it's...
Yeah, it's gonna... Something
I
needs
agree
to
with that.
generate the electricity somewhere to make the hot plates hot at the very least. Which is probably making carbon.
So here's like anytime a big project like this that's gonna create jobs and stuff like that, you know, there's always gonna be basically a bidding war as to who's gonna get the most money to build their plant in their area.
For sure.
I don't even know that I'm that like, yeah, the $60 million is whether it was the liberals or the conservatives, somebody was going to give these guys money. Like, I don't think that it's the way this was done and the way that it was done with the election.
Yeah,
And that's
3 days
where,
before the by-election is like definitely a dick move.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, using taxpayer money to buy votes in an election. That's where I have the issue with it. And that's where, like, I wish that there was some sort of accountability in our government to call this kind of bullshit out.
My thing is just when they spend money. It's not even vote buying. It's just when they spend tax dollars that I get upset.
Well, I agree with you there. But what party are you going to vote for in this country that's not going to? We went to that libertarian meeting. Remember what that was like?
Oh God, so many fedoras and neck beards.
Hey,
that's why we the libertarians now.
You remember the guy that was the head of the Ontario part of the Libertarian Party that told me I didn't understand because I wasn't a parent yet? Guess what? I'm a parent now and I still understand.
Oh, you mean that dude that told him was dirt?
Get to the chopper!
Yeah.
I think that was the guy that I asked, wait, so you don't believe in free market?
Yes, that was the same guy. Sorry, Ontario Libertarian Party, you're dead to me. Tim Moen, I still got a crush on you, though.
Yeah, what if we just replicate him? Is that possible?
We're going to have to pay Apple a lot of tax dollars to build a replicator.
It may be worth it in the long run, though.
Dude, I have contacts in some Chinese companies that they can do it way cheaper.
We can put knockoff Chinese Tim Moen. Look out.
Yeah.
I'm in. Like, what could go wrong?
Yeah, I don't see very many flaws with this plan.
You should see the knockoff Apple stores they have there. Like, they don't just have like knockoff Apple products. They have like knockoff Apple stores where like every product inside is a knockoff Apple product.
Well, it's not knockoff; it's just not licensed, you know, because they run the factory 24/7. So the first shift is Apple, and then everything after that is their stuff.
No, it's not. It's not done that way. But it's entirely separate factories, and they're running like different software and different chipsets, and that it is different. But yeah, it's interesting to see.
It's like virtually the same thing, though.
It basically. All right, I got nothing else for that one.
Foxconn doesn't run like that, so it's pretty difficult to get product in and out of there. With smuggling it out with it being unlicensed, it wouldn't happen. The armed guards around the perimeter would take care of that.
Man, I want to own a factory that has armed guards. That would be awesome.
Are you hiring, Andrew?
Yeah.
I will be as soon as I figure out what we're going to make at my factory that has armed guards.
AR lowers?
Actually, I already know that. We're going to make gun parts. That's an easy answer. We're going to have to make a lot of suppressors for demonstration purposes for law enforcement contracts.
Oh yeah.
We don't currently have law enforcement contracts, but we're going to need to make a lot of suppressors for like R&D purposes.
Well, you can't get them until you have the.
Yeah, we got to have demo units to show. Otherwise, we can't get the business.
Yeah, and police officers are entitled to prohibited devices, so can't always wear hearing protection.
What if we create something that's not a suppressor, and it's designed to do something else? It just so happens to also make things quieter.
Dual purpose.
Like it'll filter the oil out of your vehicle.
Yeah.
I feel like that's constructive intent and a violation of the law, but I'm not a lawyer, and I do have my CCFR legal insurance up to date. So let's see how this goes.
We're good to go then. Let's do this. Yeah, if there's no show next Monday, you know where we are.
Let's do something different. I was hoping Tim would be on, but Tim is trying to continue to run his tax shelter and be part of the 1%. From Simco.com, Collingwood opts for coyote management plan over trapping, killing. So apparently in Collingwood, there's a bunch of coyotes that are not following the local bylaw that says that coyotes are not allowed in Collingwood.
Those bastards.
So let me guess, they're going to put up signs?
They are going to put up signs.
No, wait, I haven't read the article. Is that actually it?
Yeah, 100%. They're going to put up signs to remind the coyotes that the coyotes are not allowed there.
I mean, isn't it bad enough that these people are taking back like large sums of money to run people across the border, but now they're hanging out in Collingwood too? Like, that's ridiculous.
Different kind of coyote, but yes.
Oh,
so Collingwood's plan is to focus on educating the public and not trapping or eradicating the coyotes, because it would be problematic for them for some reason to trap and kill the coyotes in an urban setting. I don't understand.
Wow.
Literally coming from a town councillor, no Ontario municipality has implemented a trapping program as a result of pests being attacked by coyote. Trapping in an urban area is challenging. Removing coyotes isn't solving the problem. Removing coyotes isn't solving the problem.
No, we got to pay $6 million over 5 years to hire some Aussies and Americans to get rid of them for us.
I'm pretty sure that the problem is the coyotes are in town, and I'm pretty sure the solution to them is physical removal.
Yeah, I you know what might make it better is that if they allowed us to use suppressors to hunt the coyotes in town, which would make it quieter for everybody in town.
Well, not when I'm shooting them out of a helicopter.
Well, there's no noise ordinance on a helicopter. You don't have to worry about that shit.
I don't
Dealing with coyotes, I mean, it's not a simple thing. Coyotes are a really incredible animal. There's a good book, I think it's Coyote America. I think is
coyotes are really smart and really irritating. And a good solution for stopping coyotes from doing things in urban centers is to shoot them so that they roadrunners.
You would think so.
Can't be in urban centers.
So here's the weird thing with coyotes. You know how they do the howling at night?
Yeah.
It's essentially a roll call. They go through a roll call. And if coyotes come up missing, so essentially a coyote got shot, it triggers all the females to have larger litters.
So
they're organized.
So instead of shooting them, because I mean, my solution to coyotes, as it is with most pests, is to shoot it. Can we physically remove them and relocate them?
I don't know. Like, it's just like they're a very
we build a wall.
They're a very interesting animal. I'm like,
and we make the coyotes pay for it.
If you shoot them, they make more of them.
There are signs for coyotes in the middle of North York, Toronto. I don't know if any of you guys know the Bathurst and Shepherd area. There's a giant park there called Earl Bales Park. I recently drove by there and saw a sign warning people about coyotes.
New York City has coyotes. LA has coyotes.
So
they exist everywhere. They're
Oh yeah. So I mean, you guys have all been to my parents' place.
Yep.
They back on a river. There's coyotes behind there. Like when I was living there at night, I would hear them like howling and everything. Like
So
they come right up to
again,
the fence line.
I don't see the problem with why we can't just physically remove the coyotes.
Well,
Well, you still
especially
have the roll
trapping.
call issue.
Like, well, but if you kill enough of them,
yeah, you have to get them all. That's the thing. you got to get them all.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I'm
have
just
to go
saying,
to Napa
it's,
and get myself
it is-
an oil can.
Compared to most like pest nuisance animals type of thing, coyotes is a unique challenge.
Well, I am willing to believe that. I'm also disappointed by Collingwood saying that it's not the city's problem and here's a sign and clean up your yards and maybe build a fence and don't let your dogs out, because all of these are not real solutions. Thanks, government.
They've covered their butt.
Example, like the way they eradicated wolves doesn't work on coyotes at all because of the roll call system.
yeah, but that just means they need to issue more tags or put a bounty on them.
Well, there is no tags for coyotes. It's open, right?
I think
Yeah.
there's
Well,
a
it depends.
I think there's a bounty in where the area I work in. I think there's a bounty.
Yeah,
coyotes.
there used to be in the area you work in, because I used to live in that area, and there was definitely, you had to bring the ear in, but you got $5 for it. So
That's kind of creepy. Nom-esque with like a necklace of coyote ears.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, really, like ears?
that used to be a thing in the area where Benny works, because you had to go to the city hall or the municipal office,
It's your bag of ears.
and you had to provide proof that you eliminated the coyote in order to collect the bounty. Ears.
Now, do they only accept like
Left ears.
left ears?
Man, what
I
if
think
you have
it
a
was
coyote that got in a
I think it was
fight
left
that,
ears.
that had no left ear? Could you bring in the right one? And
I honestly don't know. That was not my part of what I was allowed to do with the coyotes, because my involvement was different. Shooting them.
I don't. Okay.
Yeah. For anyone in Collingwood that has a coyote problem, I'm sure the vast majority of the panel would be happy to take care of that for you.
Yeah, I got an AR. I got no problem. I mean, I got a 223 caliber rifle.
Maccabee.
You do have a 223 rifle that's non-restricted.
I do.
Is your 9
Oh,
mil?
yeah.
Is
I
your
have
9
never
mil?
shot a coyote with a Jewish space gun, but I
Yeah,
could.
you could even do it with the 9mm conversion in.
All right, let's get away from that and talk about the other kind of coyote, the illegal border crossing kind.
I knew there was a segue in there somewhere.
I try. So we've got an article from the Star. Asylum seekers will be fast-tracked to Ontario starting next week.
Hard no.
I'm with you on this. When did we vote on that? I don't remember voting on this.
Can we send them to Thunder Bay?
No,
No.
that's still Ontario.
Send them back. Send them back. So
They clearly don't like dry and hot, so let's get them wet and cold.
None of it. There's
feel
lots
like
of
there's
space
a
up
joke in
there.
but
Yeah, there's lots of space and none of it.
So here's a question: if the government is like telling these people where to go and moving,
no, that's the thing. The government's not telling them. The government is saying so the government of Quebec, the provincial government in Quebec is expecting 400 refugee claimants per day for the duration of the summer. If the individuals that are illegally crossing into Quebec indicate that they would like to go somewhere like Toronto, the Quebec government is going to figure out a system. They haven't determined how this is going to work as yet, in order to furnish them with getting them to that destination. So if they want to go to Toronto, they're getting put on a bus or something and going to Toronto.
No.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Like, I don't blame Quebec for doing that. If the government is not giving them the resources to keep them out, and they're telling them that they have to let them in,
Yeah, but
then
can we
yeah,
just do the
send them on
same
their
thing?
way.
Can we have
Yeah.
like Ontario Border Patrol that stands there and goes, nah, turn this bus around.
Yeah,
Stay
I
in
don't
Quebec.
understand the Ontario immigration minister. Why is Albanese saying that we're going to accept these people? Like, we're working with Ottawa and Quebec, but it's too early to comment on the details. No, there's
Because
no details.
Wynne and Trudeau.
No, we're not accepting these people. Like, if you illegally cross the border into the country, your ass gets deported back to where you came from. I'll pay for a plane ticket for that. Like, if you want to spend my tax dollars on stupid shit, I will pay for plane tickets out of my tax dollars to send these people back to wherever they came from. Because if you want to immigrate to this country,
Do they not want them in
Value for
Quebec
money
because the
it'll
Quebecs are
not
racist?
cost you anything after that.
Sorry, do they not want them in Quebec because they don't speak French and Quebec are racist that way?
I wish. No, Quebec is saying that once their 1,800 bed shelter system reaches 85%, they can't keep these people. I want to know how these people are getting put into shelters when they're arriving illegally. Stop letting them illegally cross the border. This is not how borders work. Stop letting people illegally enter my country.
Yeah, maybe tweet about that. Don't break our laws.
Yeah, don't break our laws. Or you know what? Break our laws. Break our laws and just let me shoot people that break our laws. I'd be okay with that too. If you elect to break the laws in this country, then your average Canadian is then enabled to enforce border security policies, i.e., shoot people.
Citizens arrest. Okay, you could do that.
I'm gonna go with not shooting the people, but still not letting them into the country. Like I feel like there's a middle ground there somewhere.
Well, you stand at the border with your gun, and as they approach, you say, "Turn around, or I'm going to shoot you."
Yeah. Stop resisting.
If they don't turn around.
Stop resisting.
Don't turn around.
Bang.
Yeah, but then someone's going to say you murdered someone, and then you're going to go to jail. It's not worth it.
No, I'm acting as an agent of the state. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. 3 of the 4 people on this panel have their use of force. We could totally baton them back.
Like, I just enforce border sovereignty. Like, this is all a non-issue if they just enforce the border.
Yeah,
force the laws as
we spent a shit ton of money like a number of years ago to have people go around the Arctic on snowmobiles and like plant Canadian flags to like enforce our border sovereignty up there so that like Russia and shit doesn't come over. But then like on the actual border where people are coming in,
stop Russia.
You know, but like on the actual border where people are actually crossing it and coming into our country illegally, we're like, yeah, whatever. Here's some bottles of water.
I'm not gonna lie. If I could convince a politician to pay me to ride around the Arctic on a snowmobile and plant flags,
yeah,
I'm in. Like that does seem super fucking awesome.
Shit, I would as long as I don't lose money or even a lot of money, I would be like, I'll do that for a week. Like,
I believe you can do that. I think being in Ontario, you fall into the 3rd Canadian Ranger Patrol Group. So you just have to become a ranger.
What's the application process?
I got a buddy.
Do you get one of those Sweet Ranger rifle kits?
Yes, I believe you would get one of those Sweet Ranger rifle kits. I don't know how far south in Ontario you can be and still be a ranger, but I'm pretty sure that Northern Ontario is 3rd Canadian Ranger Patrol Group.
Yeah, a buddy of mine was in the Ranger, so I got a hookup. We got this. We could just use someone else's mailing address.
Rifle. And that, the case and everything, gorgeous.
Dude,
kit.
I saw one at SHOT in person. Those Tika rifles are. Oh yeah, I would rock one of those bad boys for sure. I mean, I'll take those like Enfields off their hand that they're not using anymore, but like, those new ones.
Sure.
All right, Gavin, do you want to talk about the next one? We've got a CBC article.
What one's that? I don't have my show notes in front of me.
Greening project could end the use of fossil fuel for Centennial Flame.
Oh yeah, the flame. Oh yeah,
a flaming flame.
So, given that the current administration is ruining all things patriotic, like the national anthem and so on, it continues with the Centennial Flame. So anyone that's seen a photo of Parliament or been there or whatever, there's like that giant flame out front that has been burning since the 100th anniversary of our country. So like just over 50 years.
It has been burning that long? They never turn it
Well,
off?
they if they've had to do maintenance, they've turned it off. But like essentially, it's been burning for 50 years. When they added the crest of Nunavut to the outside, I'm sure they turned that off so that the guys doing the stone work didn't get burnt to shit. But apparently, they're worried about the carbon emissions. They need to talk to the aluminum smelting guys. Maybe they'll figure it out. But the carbon emissions from this flame apparently is like a huge problem. And you know, this tiny little flame that has been burning, that was never an issue, and now all of a sudden is an issue. And
that's why Ottawa's so warm all winter.
Yeah,
no, it's the hot air from the politicians. But you know what really burns me about this is the carbon offset pricing is going to be $20,000 a year for the flame. Yeah. There is no way they spend that much on natural gas to actually operate the fucking thing.
Yeah. We spent more than that building a fucking skating rink that now we're spending even more money to resod the fucking grass because the place ruined the grass.
$20,000 a year to offset the carbon dioxide emissions.
That's because they're pulling the gas from someplace in Quebec. Doesn't Ottawa?
No, it's actually it comes from out west. The gas actually comes from out west.
No, but the biogas that they're now getting, it's coming from Quebec. Like I work in a water treatment plant. You get enough.
They want
that stuff to burn.
Yeah, they're looking at using LEDs now, so it'll be the eternal LED.
They're gonna burn LEDs.
That doesn't seem environmentally friendly.
Yeah, that's not friendly at all. You got, I mean,
all that black smoke coming out of those plastics. Yeah, but yeah, like I mean, I get it. Maybe don't build any more of these if you're worried about the environment and shit. But like, come on, it's the Centennial Flame. Like, it's kind of a key feature of Parliament and is a symbol of our country and all of that. And you're gonna go and just like, yeah, let's make it shitty LED lights. That's the same thing, right? Like, could you imagine in the US if they went to like, what was it, Kennedy that has the fucking flame on his tombstone, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna turn this into an LED. Like, people would lose their friggin' minds. Here, nobody's even talking about it.
To be fair, the Eternal Flame at the Kennedy Monument is much smaller than the Centennial Flame.
Agreed. But people would still lose their friggin' minds.
Yeah, you're right. They would.
And he was a Democrat, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he was best Democrat.
Well, yeah, but like they would still, lose their friggin' mind. Like Republicans would still lose their minds. Everyone would lose their mind. You can't do that. But yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I mean, I get it. We all got to worry about the future, but we already got rid of "In All Thy Son's Command," and now we're gonna.
It looks like
we may as well just put a giant rubber fucking duck there. Like,
it looks like they relight it at least, or I might be just guessing here, once a year.
Yeah, I'm sure like it gets cleaned or maintenance or something like that. Like,
oh yeah,
it's got to be.
It's not got to be the Olympic flame, or it's got to be like continuous.
Right, because the pictures are all January 1st. So like, why not just have it lit on special occasions and then not waste all this money updating it, quote unquote, to make it more green when you can just, I don't know, run it on special occasions?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I'd rather them just turn it off than fucking light it with LEDs, because that's gonna look fucking stupid.
Agreed.
Like, again, it only burns.
This isn't holding
certain
an emotional
hours or certain days or whatever. Like, that's fine. I get that.
I'm with Benny. I'm not emotionally attached to this, but the thing that bothers me is that it's a traditional symbol of Canada. It's been around since 1967, right? Because that'd be the centennial.
Yeah.
Like,
we spent a shit ton of money installing this thing.
Yeah. And then we overhauled it, last year or the year before? We had to put the Nunavut thing on it.
Yeah, whenever that happened.
That was like $1 million to add that plaque. That was dumb.
Yeah, because we had to shift everything around so that it's all fucking even. I mean, it looks nice.
Okay,
But
that had to be done. Like if we're
yeah, none of it's part of Canada. No, I agree.
right,
But like, if they were going to do something, that would have been the time to consider it because we're already like
yes,
ripping the thing
We're all-
apart, and then yeah. But
So, fun fact: do you know that in 1967 that this was designed to be a 1-year installation? It was supposed to be there only slightly longer than the ice rink.
well, that sounds like
I did not
government.
know that.
Let's build a giant statue that's only going to be there for a year. Spend a shit ton of money. That sounds like government, so I am not surprised.
You
Just
know what
like
else makes me
taxes.
sad about?
Once the war is over, we'll stop.
Yeah.
You know what else makes me sad about both government and taxes? My beer. Got an article from Toronto Sun. Crying in your beer. Taxes make up nearly half the price. And I can summarize this with saying that $20 that you pay in Ontario for every 2.4 of beer is taxes. It's 47% of what you're paying. Retail prices for beer make up the beer tax. Because taxes in Ontario and at the federal level are both escalator values. And the cost of beer goes up every year because the taxes increase on it annually.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hank Williams wrote a song about this called "There's a Tear in My Beer." It's all about him being angry about the taxes on beer in Canada. Fact.
This makes me sad. Like alcohol in Canada is expensive compared to basically everywhere else in the world because our alcohol taxes pay for a bunch of our stuff, like our free education and our free healthcare.
Yeah, it pays to get rid of people's jaundice and liver disease from abuse of those things too, because they can't control themselves.
This is 47% though on taxes.
That is ridiculous.
So do you know how much it costs me to make a 2.4 beer? Just take a guess. How much does it cost me as a home brewer to make a 2.4 beer?
$12.
Pretty damn close. It cost me about $14.
And see, part of that is tax, because on the stuff that you buy, you're paying 13% HST, plus whatever other taxes may or may not be in there because you're buying something that's like controlled or something, right?
Depending on the beer that I brew at home, I can make a 5-gallon batch of beer, which is 5 gallons is a little bit more than 2 2.4s. I can make a 5-gallon batch of beer for about $30.
So here's they talk about, on 47% of the purchase price that you pay is tax. And I'm paying for that with income that I paid 40%, of tax on. That my employer paid me, where they had to pay payroll tax on. So my labor value was taxed before I received it, then I had to pay tax on it, and then I purchased it for 47% tax. Like, I paid $100 for that case of beer.
Oh,
because $100 worth of my labor, my labor value of $100 equated out to that case of beer.
And with all that tax money, they can't buy tax credits to offset the freaking flame.
We shouldn't be paying tax credits to offset the front. Stop saying the carbon tax is a thing.
But if I'm going to spend my beer tax money on something, let's keep that fire burning.
That's not a thing.
I had to find the right drop. Yeah, this makes me sad. The actual cost on your case of beer, Marty, you're probably right. It's probably close to $100 once you factor in all of the other associated taxes to get the $40 to buy the 2.4 beer.
I bet you it's more. I bet you it's probably close to like $150 to get a $30 case of beer.
Probably. Let alone, did you even factor in, you had to get to the store somehow, right?
So when you think about it, all of the ingredients that, whatever the brewery they're paying tax all along the way. They're paying payroll tax and salary tax and all kinds of stuff like that for their employees to then sell it at their cost,
and
which
the
then
people
gets
to
taxed.
grow the hops.
Yeah, with let's say there's all this tax along the way that goes into the product that I'm then buying and paying tax on with my taxed income that came from the company that I worked at that had to pay the payroll tax on for my labor. So yeah,
I think as a fun exercise, you should work out exactly what it actually costs you in labor wage to buy a case of beer, because I think it'd be curious. I'm curious. I think it'd be fun to find out if you break $150 in value when you buy a case of beer. I bet you do.
Yep.
I'd have to know what percentage my company pays on the labor. I don't know that.
Figure payroll taxes add another 25% to your salary on average.
Yeah, but how much of that is passed on to the next guy in line, right?
I would imagine most of it.
So
but that's the problem, right? Like all the way down the line. Like, so the guy that grows the hops, he's being taxed and everything, so he has to increase his price, and he sells it to the brewery.
Guy that
the brewery makes it.
The raw ingredients guy, the malting guy, the brewery guy.
That all gets passed on.
The retail sales distribution guy.
Even
and
the guy
all of
that
the transport in between all of that to move the beer around, to physically move the beer between locations.
Even the guy
that
let's say sells the seeds to the guy that grows the hops. It's all taxed.
It's like the circle of life, but for beer.
So let's say the beer store is selling a $40 case of beer. So he said 47% of that is tax. So let's just say $20 is tax.
47% of the retail price. That's not including the tax that they then charge you.
They got us to that.
That's what I'm saying. So the retail price $40. There's $20 of tax basically there. They're making some profit. So let's say they buy that case for $15 that they're then selling to you for $40.
Yeah.
Of that $15 has all of that other previous, as you guys mentioned, like there's all of the steps along the way, plus all of the staff and all of the tax.
Easily is probably another half tax. Easily half.
Easily. So it's probably you're buying $7 worth of product for $150, probably.
That would make about sense to me, because again, looking at me and figuring that economies of scale are in play here, case of beer cost me about $14.
Yep.
I don't want to live in this province anymore.
I don't think any of the other ones are that much better, though. I mean, maybe Alberta because the oil money, but they're just taking the money out of your pocket in a different way, right?
Yep.
Yeah, there's no more oil money in Alberta. I mean, there's still oil in Alberta, but
if you look south of the border, their tax burden is pretty high.
Well, that's why Trudeau is going to help all those Canadians affected by Trump's tax cuts and this and that and everything else, right?
Yeah. Go sign petitions, oneclearvoice.ca. Go sign E1608. If you listen to the show and you haven't signed E1608, you're a cuck. Go sign the petition.
You definitely need to get on that Patreon and get yeah.
Or you're just super lazy. But then still get off your butt and sign.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like I said,
seriously,
you're a cuck.
That's
right into the show. Feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com and let us know what it's like to watch another man have sex with your wife.
More than one at the same time. Because that's what's happening if you haven't signed this yet.
If we still have any listeners left, you can see us at the 8th Annual Canadian Firearms Podcast Charity Shoot in Restigouche, New Brunswick. The money raised this year is going towards the Dalhousie Regional High School Breakfast Program.
There will be no T-shirts. Sorry.
Oh, there are no T-shirts?
There are no T-shirts.
Why are there no T-shirts?
There's going to be some hashtag Trevor Sucks T-shirts available
like
at some point.
Affair?
No, just the last two charity events had T-shirts with registration. I don't know what I did with mine. I think I misplaced it.
Well, as per SOP. I mean,
yes.
Who has event T-shirts?
I have
keep
event
those.
T-shirts. Those are my housework T-shirts.
Dirty Benny, I'll hook you up with a drawing of Trevor with a bunch of clowns that says hashtag Trevor sucks on it.
Okay.
Those are the event
Sure.
T-shirts. Those are the event T-shirts that everybody wants. So
I just want to see his face when you guys walk up and give him hugs and everything.
that in roadie short shorts is probably going to be my outfit for the pistol course.
You can get Ranger panties from Ladder with Crowder.
Nice.
I am not sure I'm comfortable with any of this. Let's do rapid fire feedback. Got an email from Tom with an H. Hey guys, just wanted to say thanks for all your hard. I'm sorry.
Is
So
it
then
Thom or is
Tom?
it like Tom? Like Tom, last name starts with an H, or Thom.
Well,
Tom the Nation sounds like Hom to me.
Is it Hom? I don't know. We don't know how to pronounce your name. There's weird letters in it.
He'll probably know what it is by the content, though, so that's okay.
He'll know. No one else will know. That's okay.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just wanted to say thanks for all your hard work and BSing every week. You guys have given me much needed solace in knowing that I'm not the only angry Canadian in our glorious country, and that there are others vocalizing and fighting the steady pace of the communism that spews from shiny pony side of the aisle. Keep up all you do, and if you're ever in Alberta, especially for an event, drop me a line. Would love to hang out or go shooting. As for my quick question, recently the Mounties have graced me with an extra serving of freedom in issuing my RPAL. Before I get all gung-ho in buying anything I want to either join... I don't know if I've had a lot of whiskey or if we're missing some words. Before I get all gung-ho in buying anything I want to either join an NFA or CCFR, I'm wondering what the panel's opinion is, which one or both that would be best to get. I'm leaning towards CCFR after hearing the old shows that had Tracy on, but some of my friends are saying to go the NFA route. Thoughts? Much love and respect. Thom or Hom or Tom with an H.
Do we want to do a round table on this one?
So, like,
turns?
unanimous decision, CCFR?
Yeah.
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 Now,
that being said, I will say a little bit about the NFA. I was formerly a member of them. I've attended AGMs. I did have some good experiences with the NFA. I did, however, also get to spend a fair bit of time, and I had dinner with the current president. I understand where a lot of the issues are coming with him. The NFA is its own unique beast, and I think at this point they're not getting a lot of respect from the gun owners, and I don't think that they are going to until the current leadership changes, and that's sort of the state that they're in.
I'm
the NFA is a very the NFA is a very much like they're taking the very hard line, like the no compromise side of things. And ultimately, it's kind of good to have that person out there, that group out there, being the like unreasonable, hard line, no compromise group, because it allows guys like the CCFR to be the, let's say, like the reasonable groups that politicians, that politicians will then go, okay, well, we don't want to deal with the super and the NFA will deal with the middle guys, and that lets them so the farther that the NFA pushes that, kind of the more the middle can push. So there is some good coming to them. Ultimately, if you have the money, you can support both. But if you're gonna support one, support the CCFR. They seem to be doing the most good right now.
Yeah. So my take on the whole thing, and I'll basically agree to almost everything Marty said, if not everything, and to be fully open to anyone that doesn't know, I am a field officer for the CCFR. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. But if you look at the track records of all three major organizations, CCFR, CSSA, and the NFA, because OFA doesn't do shit all. If you have the money, the track record, despite the CCFR being fairly new to the scene and being only like 2.5, 3 years old right now, they have the best track record in that amount of time. I am a former NFA supporter. I've got the hoodie, and I do love that hardline approach. And for anyone watching like the live video or that knows me, like you can see it. Like I've got, don't tread on me and liberty or death tattooed literally on me. So I appreciate that, and I agree. Like we need somebody that is pushing that. And my personal beliefs are, like no compromise. However, I am willing to make some compromises along the way to get to where I want to go, because there are certainly those that, I don't believe in gun licenses, so I'm not going to accept a 10-year license over a 5. And like I think that is absolutely ridiculous, because how are we supposed to show that we don't need a gun license if we can't show that going from a 5-year to a 10-year license has created no extra murders,
Yeah, perfect example.
So,
and that's the NFA is taking the line that, like, any licensing whatsoever is bad. And so as soon as any, org supports some level of reduction of, of restrictions on us, they flip out and say they shouldn't be supporting a reduction of, they should, they should only support the elimination of. And it's I agree with you. I agree with you on the elimination 100%. But we didn't get to where we are today by the left saying ban all the guns.
Yeah.
We got to where we are today by incremental change. By going,
and we need to play that same game. We need to take little bits back.
We get it back.
We can't ask for everything all up front. That's our end game, but we can't do that. So, if you only have $40, I highly recommend the CCFR, because I truly do think that they are the best organization out there currently. They are the only organization that allows you to volunteer. Like you can't become, a field officer or whatever.
CSSA field officer as well.
People have tried, and I've heard they've been turned away.
Okay.
Maybe previously in the past you could.
I don't have enough details on that to argue one way or the other. But
in my experience, you can't. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
They certainly offer a bunch of like classes and stuff, and I am, full disclosure as well, I am a CSSA member as well. So if I had to say, like, CCFR, spend the $40 if you only got $40 for one. If you could support two of them, I would say CCFR and CSSA. If you've got $120, do all three. The more voices really, we have, it can't.
That's
hurt.
what we're talking about is $100.
If you've got money to burn, get OVA too, right? Like, even though they don't do anything, get it.
If you can afford ammo, you can afford to support all the orgs, really.
Yeah, and I do 2 of the 3 because I think
a lot of us
2 of the 3 are effective. But
a lot of us that are not supporting NFA right now, it's done with specific intent, and there's a reason why we're not supporting NFA right now. And again, I say, like, probably one of the best experiences I ever had in terms of firearm advocacy was attending an NFA AGM several years ago, and the speakers that they had brought out. So I went to one AGM. They had Gary Mauser, they had John Lott, Solomon Friedman, Ed Burlew, all these guys, all at their AGM doing presentations and talks. They had Ian Thompson there going over his case at the time. It was the best. Brilliant. Yeah, it was a brilliant day in terms of firearms advocacy.
And then they went and fumbled it all.
Yeah,
exactly.
There was some, leadership and internal problems and everything else. And I know, like, lately there was the last thing in Parliament, and there was like a photo of it's Sheldon that's in charge right now, and he's like, handing. Well. It looks like he's handing Goodale some papers, and they spun that, and yes, he was there, but it was open. Anyone could be there. Didn't matter who you were. And the only thing he was handing over was a copy of their magazine. So not to downplay that he was there, because he was. He legitimately was there. But
and the NFA did have they were kind of the only one. It with the Quebec gun registry. They were the only ones challenging the Quebec registry that I saw, and like they had some victories there as well. So they are still doing some good work.
Agreed.
But there's a lot of question with the leadership. My experiences with the current leadership were not positive.
I think
so
they're
hopefully they get that sorted out.
Blowing a lot of hot air and not really doing a whole lot currently. As soon as they, in my opinion, become viable again, I will definitely be giving them money because I want multiple dogs in the fight.
Yeah, and like I said, it's important to have that one, the group taking that hard line so that the others become the moderates.
Yeah, agree 100%.
Also, who's Sharp 97?
I think that's one of our panelists.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I will fill you in later.
But no, for real though, like vote or spend your dollars where you think they are best spent. But in my opinion, CCFR.
It's $100.
I feel like they've been the most boisterous in the past couple of years. Although, again, their mandate is public relations. So you're not really going to hear so much what the CSSA has been doing behind the scenes. And then
they throw a great party in Vegas. Yeah.
My personal opinion on the NFA, and I was a member with them just before the ship started to sink. My opinion of them was that they were on a good track, and then they had some real internal issues. Weren't handled the best, and basically everyone jumped ship at that point, and they let some of their projects, flounder. So I'm now a CCFR member, and that's who I support. But if the NFA ever were to change their leadership or how they do things, then I'd be more than happy to support them as well if I ever have the ability to do so.
Yeah. Also,
that being said,
we're
if
just talking about
Sheldon
the
is
orgs.
listening, come on the show and tell us why we should be members of the NFA.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and we are, what we're talking about in terms of, spending your money, but really consider spending the money on that legal defense Andrew mentioned earlier.
Oh yeah, or even just the legal advice.
Yeah, you can get it through the CSSA or the CCFR. They both have some version of it. Do your research into both of them and pick one, but it's definitely seems like it's worth having.
Yeah, and if you get the legal advice only, which is still awesome, it's not just for gun stuff; it's for anything. Just so anyone knows.
Yeah, that's the CCFR version. Yeah, that's
like if you're like, hey, I'm looking at starting up a business, you can call them and be like, ask them all the questions you want, or you're like, man, I'm getting a divorce. Is this a good idea? Like, am I gonna have to give her half of my guns? Like, you can totally ask them that, and it does not pertain strictly to gun stuff. It is legal advice on any topic whatsoever, which is an added bonus for some people. But legal defense in this day and age, with them, prohibiting 1022 mags and hex mags and your CZ or your Swiss arms or anything else, like it's not a bad idea to have that in this political climate.
All right, anything else?
All right.
Nope.
Yeah, I think that covers it.
No, I think we beat this one to death.
I feel like it's thoroughly been deceased. Where can everybody find you on the internet? Gavin, where can everybody find you?
The best place to find me on the internet is on Instagram is at urbex_GTA or Guerrilla Works. Like
skill testing question, where can everybody find the CCFR?
firearmrights.com. .ca?
Firearmrights.ca.
I've been drinking a lot.
I feel that. Marty, where can everybody find the show?
CanadianPatriotPodcast.com, Facebook, You can email us at feedback@canadianpatriotpodcast.com, or you can contact us through canadianpatriotpodcast.com/feedback.
Benny, where can everybody find you?
BennyLewis.ca.
Right. As always, my name is
Anything
Andrew.
good for sale there, Benny?
We got some cam loaders back in, so we are fully stocked in our pistol and rifle cam loaders.
Those were quite the hit at TACCOM. I can vouch for that. Benny was working his butt off demoing those bad boys.
Yeah, and no sore thumbs.
Nice. Oddly enough, we sold a lot more of those on Sunday as opposed to Saturday. Coincidence? I don't know.
Funny how that worked. As always, you can find me at ragnaroktactical.ca. Buy some bandages, please. I should have tourniquets back in stock shortly. I'm looking at my very last tourniquet sitting on my desk to ship out to a customer.
Or some badass Ultima shoes, man.
Yeah, get some Ultima shoes. Those are good.
Get them from ragnaroktactical.ca.
There you go.
Super comfy. They come in the colors of freedom, which everyone knows you need.
Yeah. Freedom's a way color. Get off my panel. If I was paying you, I'd fire you. If you want me to fire Marty, become a Patreon today. Because if we raise enough money to pay Marty, then I can fire him.
But make sure that your amount is $1.25 so that we know that you want us to fire Marty and you're not just joining for some other reason.
All right. I have to apologize to Rod Giltack. I'm afraid we couldn't fit Rod into the show this evening. For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I'd like to remind you that you are the true North. Strong and free.